Good evening, Cecil County. Welcome back to our Politics 2026 segment. Today we have a candidate, an incumbent running for State House of Delegates 35B, Kevin Hornberger. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Grant. Seems like we were just doing this 4 years ago.
Yeah. Probably, who knows, who knows. Kevin, before we jump into some of the policy and politics of what's going on here, if let's say somebody is just tuned in to politics for the first time ever, new voter, who are you?
Yeah, so hey, I'm Kevin Hornberger. I've been your representative down there in Annapolis for the last 12 years and currently live in Northeast. I'm here asking for your vote for re-election. House of Delegates is an interesting place. I'm out there door knocking, talking to voters, and I get the question a lot, well, what is it that you do?
Right, what is it?
Yeah, so a multitude of things to answer that question. It's complicated, but ultimately we make legislation, craft new bills and laws that impact statewide policy. So that's something that I've worked very hard at the last 12 years. Exciting. Other do things like constituent services and special projects, but always busy. It's a fun job. I really enjoy it, and that's why I'm here tonight asking for your vote.
12 years as a state delegate is, in my opinion, pretty impressive. It can be hard to win re-election,
Sure.
and especially in today's political climate. Looking back at your 12 years here, what are some notable maybe wins or things that you feel particularly proud of as you enter this campaign?
Yeah, I guess probably the most important thing I want to touch on is when I first got elected and I went down to Annapolis, your peers, the people that you're working with, their first question is kind of like, hey, where are you from?
Right.
You're new.
Right.
Tell them Cecil County. And more often than not, I got the, hey, where's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that, after forming some bonds and relationships with people, that's not the case anymore. And more often than not, they're kind of like, hey, well, instead of where is that, they ask more along the lines of, well, will this bill impact you?
Right.
Or how Cecil County feel about this, or where are your thoughts on this? Because, try to be a pragmatic person and work across the aisle. So I think that's really the difference because where I started and where I'm at now, there's just no substitute for working in this profession and making relationships with people.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, you talk about working across the aisle, being pragmatic. A big part of your campaign is and I don't think it's a secret, you pride yourself in your strong conservatism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very right-wing, very Republican candidate. So with those values, how do you make it work? How do you handle a supermajority of Democrats in Annapolis and still get things done in a productive manner?
Yeah, the first thing that I want to clarify, because this is another question I get too, when I say minority party, there's just less of us, right? Like a lot less of us. We're in the super minority. And the reason that's so important to articulate is because I have to compel people who are on the other side of the political spectrum to agree with me.
Right.
That's difficult to do. So I'm passionate about things like the Second Amendment and hunting and fishing, things that maybe aren't as in vogue with that party as we'd like them to be. So when I have to make arguments, I have to be very compelling and also, explain to them this isn't a threat to your constituency or the rest of the state. In many cases, these are localized decisions.
Right.
For hunting, which I'm really a big fan of, we have some of the most expansive hunting laws in Cecil County. We're actually tied with Garrett for accessibility to hunting, and that's because I've changed like 5 or 6 laws over the years and incrementally sort of gotten to a place where we can enjoy the outdoors, right? Because we're a rural area, we love to hunt and fish, sportsmen and women, and because of all of that work, I recently got named the chair of the Sportsmen and Women Caucus. So over time, that's just one example of a win, but you just sort of build up these chips, right? And then you start cashing them in. And somebody say, well, I don't agree with that, but Hornberger's really cool with it, and I know that it doesn't have any impact on my constituency, so I'll vote for it.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of the, what I wanted to articulate here is important when it comes to those relationships is I'm there to represent Cecil County.
Right.
We do statewide stuff, but as soon as I make it known that we're not going to be a threat to anybody else, it makes things a lot easier to get past.
That's interesting. I appreciate that insight.
Mm-hmm.
12 years as a delegate, as we said, very impressive. You've had 12 years of being in there.
Yep.
Why do you feel like you deserve, or what are you going to do with 4 more years?
Yeah, so some of my biggest goals that when I first ran, I've accomplished, okay?
Give an example of like what the big goal would be.
So one of the things that I ran on very early was there was an initiative at Perry Point to turn over abandoned housing to be able to exclusively for veterans.
Right.
And the project had funding and federal buy-in and all these different levels of approval, but it just couldn't get started. It had languished for 8-10 years.
Yeah.
I ran on that, to sort of just put it in order, start the project. Obviously, starting something like this is very difficult. Excess of a $20 million project. It got done. Took me almost 10 years to do. We're actually getting ready to cut the ribbon on phase 2 later this summer.
Great. Congratulations. That's awesome.
So when you talk about, well, what did you set out to do? Well, I set out to do that, but now I'm setting out to do phase 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one was, Fair Hill. We're going to redo the track. Sounds simple enough, right? No big deal. Then COVID hit. Then the track took too long. Then there was they had to go back and change. And then we got the 5-star. So I guess where I'm going with this is I enjoy these sort of projects. They require multi-year effort, consensus building, working across the aisle, getting funding, sometimes disagreeing with people, but ultimately working towards a common goal. And I'm here to say we're just getting started. Like, I've accomplished the things I set out to do. Now I'm on round 2, round 3. Like, I want to make them even better.
There you go.
So.
Okay. In your opinion, what is one of the biggest challenges in our district?
In our district here at home?
Yeah, 35B.
Yeah, I guess I would say that, I'm the type of person that likes to play chess.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, I like to play chess politically. I like to be strategic and think things out. Well, the reality is not everybody knows how to play chess. So sometimes people are like, oh, that doesn't make sense. Oh, I disagree with that. What are you doing? And, what I try to say is, like, I think historically Cecil County was a place where we just said no.
Right.
Or I don't like that. Or I'm not down.
You feel like the local government was a place
all the above.
No, okay.
It was just a mindset here, right?
Nothing was changing.
Correct. Okay. And when you get in that mindset, you're not at the table, right? So stuff comes along, you strongly disagree with it, and you sit back, and it just happens, and you have no impact on it. You can't make it better and make it less of a hit. So I think the mentality that I've worked very hard to change is that we are important, we do matter,
right.
We need to be at the table, and when these big decisions come along, we can change those, right? We don't have to just sit back and say, oh, it's always that way, and we're going to lose again. No. We're going to get our hands dirty, going to get in there and mix it up, and we're gonna catch some breaks. Yeah. Stuff's going to go our way sometimes, and I think there's still some folks very traditional that are still in that mindset of like, we don't matter, but hey, look, we do matter. Cecil County is a big constituency, and we're putting up wins in Annapolis, and that's what I want to keep doing.
Matters. One of the biggest issues as people head to the polls for this primary and in November is both federal policy and state policy has led to a higher cost of living for many people here in Cecil County, whether it's gas or groceries or whatever. And you can kind of point fingers at various policies on both sides of the aisle and both governments there, state and federal. Kind of as a single delegate, I know it's hard for you to change that or fix those things, but what are your thoughts on those issues, and what are your thoughts on a potential solution?
Great question. I'd love to sit here and say that I can have some impact on federal level politics or what the president's doing or the House and Senate, but I can't. So I can be upset about those, but I need to focus my energy and efforts on what I can change at the state level. Yep. So at the end of last session, when I offered a gas tax holiday of 30 days, it's something that we've done in other states. Didn't pass, picked up another number of bipartisan votes. But that would have lessened the blow because on the way over here, I just looked at gas. It's at $4.20 a gallon.
Sucks. It really sucks.
And that's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
That has a huge impact on people going to work. Businesses that rely on buying diesel. I don't even want to talk about diesel.
Yeah.
And our farmers. So small things like that we can have an impact on. And those are the things that I kind of focus my effort on. Mm-hmm. Agriculture is another big one. Actually did get a win this last session. Passed a bill that's going to lower energy rates for farmers, because many of them, for historic reasons, had multiple meters on their properties. Yeah. So now we have all these add-on fees for each meter, and the farmer finds himself, why am I paying 3x, 4x for my electricity if I would have just had one meter?
Right.
So again, small incremental wins.
Did the bill waive those additional add-on fees, or how did that?
Yeah, it's basically going to lead to a point where we can consolidate them down to one.
Gotcha.
And that way, sales tax and some of these other taxes won't be assessed.
It won't.
On the farm.
Okay.
So that's where you really have to focus. Where can I make a difference?
In your community.
Yeah, where can I make a change? And then the other big one is really the constituent services. I mean, government can mess up just about anything. So there's been a multitude of issues that I've been able to resolve.
Yeah.
Just in knowing, like from a wayfinding standpoint, where to send the person.
Which is hard. I mean, it's hard to navigate the state, state government. Kind of peeling back the layers here, more of a philosophical question, but you're a deep guy, so I'm curious to see what you're going to say.
Sure.
You've been a delegate for 3 different presidents, right?
Yep.
Obama, Biden, Trump. 2 different governors, maybe three governors, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 governors. God knows how many other delegates. Throughout your time and seeing all this change, how do you describe the state of politics today compared to maybe what it was when you first kind of got into this?
Yeah, I would include too, multiple county executives, different county councils.
That's a big one.
Yeah, all the above. When I first started, you work very difficult to forge relationships with folks, and then they leave.
Right.
They get a promotion. They move out of state.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I really had an in, and I understood, what they were about, and I was able to communicate with them and get things done. I guess what's changed is I've came to the realization that if you treat everyone with respect, if you work across the aisle like in the best interest,
right.
if you're sound on your approach and it's like really like a good government thing, 95% of the people that you work with are going to capitulate, potentially work with you, maybe even help you out.
Right.
And ultimately, I've been in here for a while now. Some of those folks have come back. Or that promotion that they've got, now they're serving with a different governor or where it is.
Right.
And the word gets out that you become someone that a person can go to and get results. You're not going to play politics, or you're not going to sabotage or be a bomb thrower. I've seen so many really smart people just burn themselves out,
right.
And attack this and attack that, and they might score some points on social media, but 2 years later, they're like, nobody will talk to that person or work with them.
Yeah.
So ultimately, this game is about relationships and a common good, and that's what government's supposed to be. Oftentimes, it's not. I found if you focus on that, you can get some stuff done.
So do you find like in person at the MGA, things aren't as perhaps as nasty as maybe like you see on Facebook, or does it just depend on the day?
I'll bite my tongue on that question. We have a new speaker.
Yes.
Justin Penny-Malik. And, like you had mentioned, I've gone through multiple speakers. And some of the folks that got cast out with the last speaker or 2 speakers ago, now they're back in vogue.
Yeah, it is full circle.
Yeah, so the idea here is that, governors come and go. A lot of times the legislature doesn't change, especially on the majority party side. We do have some turnover on our side. But again, if you're there to do the right thing and not cause trouble, I love causing trouble in a good way, but if you're going down there and trying to mess with people's relationships or, accuse people of things, that's not going to get you anywhere, or question people's motives. That's a big one too. You can, regardless of the person that's in charge, because it can change daily.
Yeah.
I think you'll be successful. So that's been my ethos, and it's gotten me pretty far. And I was really honored. The speaker came to me, and she wanted to do things with rural Maryland, which I love it.
Yes, a House Rural Caucus, right? Was created by the new speaker.
Yeah, so she asked, one of 4.
Shout out to you, speaker.
Yep, I got appointed to the Rural Caucus, which was a huge blessing, and I've already leveraged it to pass some bills that I've been working on for a number of years.
Great.
So that's a little feather in my cap.
That is a win.
I'll take it.
Well, we're a couple weeks away from a heated primary. You have 2 passionate opponents. What makes you feel like you stand out compared to them? Why should we invest once again in a Hornberger vote compared to trying something new?
Yeah, what I will say is I'm running as a known entity, right? I've taken thousands of votes. Okay, so if you've got like a policy standpoint or you want to know if I'm this way or that way, I encourage you to check my record. I have my website, kevinhornberger.org. Phone call, you can hit me up anytime. I'm at 443-309-6771.
Phone call on the interview, okay.
And I if you like results, if you like winning, if you want someone who has experience in doing the job and getting results and working across party lines for everyone, my door is open to everybody. We have solved so many multifaceted issues with state government and federal and local, I can't even keep track of them anymore.
Yeah.
People just come up to me like, oh, thank you for helping me with that thing. Then stay the course, vote for me. If you want a radical departure from that, I'm pretty consistent voting record.
Yeah.
But I think I'm the best candidate only because I have the experience and I'm asking. It's an honor. I grew up here.
Right.
I love this
Absolutely.
place. I have my family here. I've raised 2 sons here. Like this is my joint.
Yeah.
I love this. So I'm just asking for your vote.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it. To our viewers at home, watch all the interviews. Really, really consider, and thank you so much for watching at home. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Good night, everyone.